So this is the part in the show where I recommend things on a different streaming service every week, and this time I'm going to talk about Netflix, the one that most people use. Before I get into those recommendations, I have Sinram here. You should check out his channel and subscribe. He runs a great YouTube channel. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, and I'm really lucky to have him on this show. So thank you very much, Sinram, for being here. He will be on later in the show. But before we get into that, there is actually a way to watch free stuff on Netflix without paying. I'm going to have the URL in this video when it's a video later, and I'll post it on Twitter also for everyone who's watching now. There's a way to watch free stuff, including Stranger Things, several of their movies, and things like that is completely free. So if you're financially hit and you are just watching this video, you didn't know that information, there's a free way to watch several things on Netflix right now. The URL will be at the top of this video. Check that out, and you can watch it. If you already have Netflix, I don't know why you'd use that, but if you have a friend who's like financially can't pay for Netflix right now or something like that, send them that URL. Totally free, so check that out. Now I want to get into the actual recommendations I have on Netflix. I think some of these I've recommended before. I should probably not keep doing that, so I apologize. But a couple of things that are on Netflix. One, I saw that the Disney Muppet movies have been on Netflix. They might have been on there before, but they're at least pushing them more towards me. One thing I would say the Muppet, both of them, the Muppets and the Muppets Most Wanted, are good recommendations. Are good family movies. They're great movies. If you've never seen them or want to see them again, I would recommend that. They also, and I've been watching this a few times, I think I brought it up, is Sister Sister is on Netflix. I grew up watching the first couple seasons, and I know they have a later season episode where they go to Freaknik and Blackstreet Meyer there playing the Rugrats song. Weird episode, but really happened. You should check out Sister Sister. Brittany Murphy's in the first season as their friend. It's weird. Anyway, check it out. Okay, the other thing, and I think I recommended this before, but it is a great documentary called The Last Dance, is about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls during his last season. With that, as well as Casino Royale is on Netflix recently. I know they have Quantum of Solace, which more people seem to be watching. I don't know why that's going on, but Casino Royale is one of the best James Bond movies, one of the best action movies of the past decade. You should check that out. Midnight Special, which I sort of do like. That's sort of a weirder one, but I sort of like Midnight Special. If you're into intelligent sci-fi, that's something you should check out. Pose is still on Netflix. I still really like it. I need to catch up on season 2, but I really like season 1. If you're watching more Charlie Kaufman, I haven't watched I'm Thinking of Ending Things, but I need to do that and do a review. If you're going to do that, I would recommend Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. As well as I watched that show Hollywood. I didn't really like it very much. That's not a recommendation, but I would recommend, instead of watching that show, just watch Hail Caesar, because I like Hail Caesar and it's really good. I know a lot of people didn't, but I like Hail Caesar. So Get on the Bus, which is a Spike Lee film about guys on the bus going to the Million Man March. It's one of the more underrated 90s Spike Lee films, but it's actually really good. Murai, which is a great animated film, which I really like, from the director of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, I believe. That one I really like, and that one's on there. More people should see that. West Side Story, the original, before you see the Spielberg one that's going to be horrible. There's no reason not to see West Side Story. You should see that. Airplane, the classic, hilarious comedy. It's one of the greatest comedies of all time. It's still on Netflix. If you've never seen Airplane, you're running out of excuses. Also, I'm sure we've recommended this before, but Batman Mask of the Phantasm, again, best Batman movie ever. I think that's probably going to stay that true for a little bit. We'll see, but it's still on there. It's in the bigger screen, so anyway. And Being John Malkovich, another great Charlie Kaufman film, written by Charlie Kaufman. I guess I just picked two written by Charlie Kaufmans, but Being John Malkovich is essentially very great. Also, one thing, 3 films. I know Cinram is going to talk about Project Power. I never got to review it. I shot a review. I never got to edit it. I don't think I'm ever going to put it out. But I thought it was all right. I think he likes it a little more than me, but I know Project Power is there. I'm sorry if I'm stepping on your toes, Cinram. But yeah, the other 2 things, Roxanne Roxanne, which is about the Roxanne Shante, who did Roxanne's answer to one of the more famous rap beefs of all time. It's actually pretty good. My only thing with hip-hop movies is they don't fully explain who everyone is as well as they should. So when I know the history, sometimes I'm sitting there like filling in blanks in my head. I wish they'd explain that better. However, I think Roxanne Roxanne is a cool movie, has a nice little kid character who you find out who that is, but Roxanne Roxanne is a really cool movie. I kind of didn't see it when it came out on Netflix, and then recently went, you know what, I really want to see Roxanne Roxanne, so I did. I'm happy I did. Really great. And finally, I may have recommended this before, but since I rewatched it because my wife and I watched the BBC Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy with Alec Guinness, we watched the movie version, and that's still really great. One of the best spy films of the past 20 years. Let's play Sinram's video, and I'm going to cut to him and see what he has to say.
Hi everyone, I'm Scott, and of course this is also Scott. Littlefoot's taking some vacation time. We have returned at the invitation of Mr. Jim to give you some more Netflix recommendations. Thank you very much to Jim for having us back on here. First, I'd like to mention a documentary which is going to be disappearing from Netflix in a matter of days. You're going to see it real soon if you're interested in it. It's called Raiders, the story of the greatest fan film ever made, and it's about the kids who back in 1982 decided to make their own shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The documentary goes into them dealing with their family issues and dealing with the interpersonal conflicts between them as they use whatever props and locations and costumes they have to recreate each shot from Raiders to the best of their ability. And it's also about, in their adulthood, they've moved on with their lives, but they decide to reconvene to complete the one last scene, the scene that they couldn't do when they were kids originally. If you like Raiders, and I know a lot of you do, that's a really fun film to check out. Also, leaving Netflix at the end of this month is my favorite film starring Johnny Depp, Donnie Brasco. It's a drama, came out in early '97. It's about an FBI agent who takes on a fake name of Donnie Brasco to infiltrate a local mob crew in New York City in the '70s. Al Pacino plays one of the members of the crew, kind of becomes his mentor. Michael Madsen is the guy who's sort of running the crew. A few other interesting character actors in it. Really good movie, really solid film, and Johnny Depp and Al Pacino are much less weird and much less over the top than they usually are in most of the films you've seen them in. It's a really good film. Like I said, one of my favorites, probably my most favorite film starring Johnny Depp. Also, another film that I know Jim likes quite a bit is called Green Room. It came out in 2016, I believe. It was one of my favorite movies that year. I believe it's also one of Jim's favorite movies for that year. He had a lot of nice things to say about it when he reviewed it. Green Room is about a band, an up-and-coming rock band headed by Anton Yelchin and Alia Shawkat. And they get a last-minute gig to play in some out-of-the-way clubhouse out in the middle of the forest somewhere. As it turns out, they're playing for a bunch of white supremacists that are headed up by Patrick Stewart. The gig goes okay, but then they're relaxing in the green room afterwards, and there's a murder, and they are witnesses to it, and so they take one of the white supremacists hostage and barricade themselves in the green room, and there's a pretty tense standoff between the two. It's a really, really, really good thriller that makes great use of all the various things that you could find in a location like this. Very creative movie, very exciting. Highly recommended. Another couple of movies, they're Netflix exclusives, not available on disc, never played in theaters, just on Netflix. Project Power. Project Power is a science fiction movie with a lot of action scenes in it. Jamie Foxx is the main character. He's on a mission to take down some people who are distributing a pill that can give you superpowers for 5 minutes. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's also in the movie. He's a cop who's fighting these guys, and he pops a pill every once in a while because it makes him invulnerable for 5 minutes, and he finds that helpful in a lot of situations. I can totally see Schwarzenegger or Stallone making this movie in the 90s, maybe with Cuba Gooding Jr. As a sidekick. It really sort of feels like that, except it's got improved special effects, obviously. But yeah, a very enjoyable movie. Exciting, lots of fun. It's real good. And finally, another Netflix exclusive is called The Last Thing He Wanted. It's a drama with Anne Hathaway playing a journalist. It's Basically, 1984, Ronald Reagan is running for re-election, and she's down in South America looking into the whole Iran-Contra thing, in Nicaragua, all the revolution that's going on down there. And her dad, played by Willem Dafoe, is actually, she finds out that he's an arms dealer who's going to send a shipment of weapons down there. But he gets hospitalized, so she goes down instead, expecting to get a huge payment. And instead she gets a bunch of cocaine. Like, they expect them to take that back to the States and sell it in order to get their money back. And she doesn't have anything to do with it. So, being a journalist, she's running around down in South America trying to figure a way out of this, and also to get home alive. Willem Dafoe, as I said, plays her father. Ben Affleck is also in the movie. He's kind of a shady, sort of shadowy fixer guy in Washington, D.C. who gets involved with a lot of the stuff that's happening there. Real good film. It's directed by Dee Rees, who did Mudbound. If you like that film, you should probably check it out. It's just a good film anyway. Thank you again, Jim, for having Scott and myself on. Appreciate it very much. Hope all of you are enjoying your quarantine viewing. Please don't go to movie theaters yet. It's not safe. I know a lot of you see Tenet. I sure do, and other stuff like that. But yeah, don't go yet. Not safe. Please don't go to the theater. Stay home. Enjoy your Netflix. Just like Scott and myself here. Thanks again for having us on, Jim. Thanks to all of you for watching. And thank you also to Austin, who always welcomes me whenever I'm on the chat, which isn't very often, but whenever I am, he always welcomes me. So thanks. Shout out to him. Later, guys.
Okay, thank you, Scott. And thank you, Little Scott, for being on the show as well. Scott actually, during the show, during this live stream, said that he'd also like to recommend, and I would second that, to Five Bloods, with I believe one of Chadwick Boseman's final performances, or at least the last performance we've seen of him, and it's he actually does a great performance, and it's a great Spike Lee movie. So if you haven't seen The Five Bloods, I know I previously recommended a Spike Lee film. I'd like to, both from Scott and myself, very much recommend that film. First off, thank you, Sunram. He is like my Netflix buddy. I have to do Netflix recommendations with him. I think he's probably better at recommending Netflix things than I am, but thank you very much for doing the show. Again, please subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. He makes great content, and he's a great guy. If you're looking for stuff to watch on Netflix, please use our recommendations. I think there's a lot of great movies in there. And try to tell friends about the free Netflix link that will be at the top of this video, just to help them out. I hope we've given you some cool stuff to watch in quarantine, and I also second that. Please don't go to a theater right now. There's plenty of stuff to watch on streaming that you can stay safe in quarantine and still watch some good stuff. So we're very much promoting that in these recommendation shows, and I hope that you will do so, and I hope you get to watch a good movie.